What's magical about this painting is that even a century later, we can rediscover the pleasure that the painters experienced at the time, using the same tools, the same decor, producing the same sensations.
In Courbet, Impressionists painted villas, like Courbet did. This is because they were more than just houses, they were monuments.
These Impressionists, they've literally tagged the Saint-Simeon farm. They've painted the walls, the bedroom doors. The atmosphere was very strange, with Calvados and cider flowing the whole time.
During the 1850s, the Normandy coast attracted dissident painters inspired by the lights of the Seine, the first signs of the Impressionist movement that eventually emerged from Honfleur.
Honfleur, it's the capital of Impressionism, and that's thanks to Eugène Boudin, who wanted to capture the lights of his city.
Artists of the era cast their visual impressions on the canvas by playing with characteristics of more traditional paintings.
The technique is to juxtapose the different brushstrokes. So when you look at an Impressionist canvas up close, you see an abstract painting. And when you step back, it's you who finishes the painting. You imagine the image.
The other break from convention is that Impressionists preferred painting outdoors rather than in workshops, the birth of plein air painting.
It's Eugène Boudin who encouraged Monet to come and discover it all, to try to capture light outdoors, taking his painting materials along with his easel outside. That's the playful side of plein air painting.
The idea is to paint on the spot, using nature, the sea, and above all, light as the subject.
The light here is changing, and it's subtle as well. There are dozens, even hundreds of shades of grey, and that's what gives us a subtlety that you can't find elsewhere, that's for sure.
This work of art came to life around 1850, near the Saint-Simeon Inn on the hills of Honfleur.
Here there was a farm and an inn that were very important because it's the only access point from Paris to Trouville. So the crew stops, the horses and carriages. They stop and change horses. And they take the opportunity to have lunch and enjoy lobster, shrimp and chicken from the Auge Valley.
Attracted by the lights of the bay and by the breathtaking panorama of the English Channel, the Impressionists transformed their terrace into an inspiring playground.
They set down their easels and got to work, without working. They had fun defining the light, making it vibrate. Everything lends itself to bringing out magnificent beauty. Now all they need are eyes to see it and fingers to put it on canvas.
Soon enough, the so-called penniless artists, Courbet, Cal's, Goron and Monet settled here and revelled in the host's hospitality.
They were well received by La Mère Toutain. She was a bit like their mother. She really liked them, these young guys working away, and those who couldn't afford the rent, they left her a painting. Monet only ever took this room because it had light coming from both directions. We know he liked the gardens and their light, the light that went towards the Seine estuary, so he only reserved this room.
But the era of artistic revolution coincided with architectural creativity, and small rural towns like Courbet became popular holiday resorts.
The development of the railroad brought the entire aristocracy to Normandy, and they were big fans of the northern beaches. Little by little, they bought or rented houses on the coast.
All kinds of buildings were built along the sea, mountain chalets, colonial houses and monumental villas. This was the era of architectural eclecticism.
It's a style of architecture that goes nicely with sunbathing and swimming. And at that time, this became really popular, and you can see this on the facades. People started to ask about the legitimacy of this architecture, and they began to build half-timbered houses from the years 1885 to 1890. This is to say the underside of roofs painted red, with the cross of St Andrews, etc.
Painting, architecture, it's the history in sum of the art of living in Normandy.
The Parisian bourgeoisie arrived on holiday and let their hair down. And you can see how it was depicted by the Impressionist painters. They painted scenes where Parisians were having fun, showing their legs, playing in the sand.
It's not only the history of the beauty and light of this place, but it's also, and especially, what is still here, a beautiful human experience.
There's an artist's soul here, there's something special in Honfleur, which will always remain. That's something no one can take away.